Years ago, boarded-up shops and empty streets marked the centre of Newcastle in New South Wales. Now the city is bustling with art galleries and cafes, the result of a project that's inspiring similar schemes across the country. And the idea has been so successful, it's also being picked up around the world.
Inside her shared Newcastle shop, Angela Haley is able to create and sell jewellery in a public space. 3 artists, all with young children, run the store.
And then she's hand painting.
They got it off the ground via a scheme which promotes little or no rent for creative projects.
I think it's done a genuine service to the city of Newcastle, but I think it's also been of benefit to the landlords and obvious benefit to artists. A lot of the other stuff.
While landlords get their otherwise vacant properties showcased, creative tenants get a useful boost.
There's also an average income of $11,000 a year that artists have to aspire to.
When the heavy industry that once dominated this port began to dwindle, so too did the centre of this once proud city. Step in the Renew Newcastle project in 2008.
It seemed to me that there were people here who wanted to use them and had interesting ideas for things they could do in them, but for whatever practical reasons they weren't able to get hold of those spaces.
With help from the state government and city council, creatives can borrow derelict space in the short term.
People are picking up on this idea from Toronto to Copenhagen, but it's also making waves closer to home, like here at Pop-Up Parramatta in Western Sydney.
At the African Village Market, 10 women from across the continent have benefited from a council-assisted plan to rejuvenate a mall. Setting up home in Australia after fleeing tribal conflict in Kenya, Rosemary Kariuki says the mall only had shops in a fraction of its spaces.
Oh my God, I remember that's what I said. Because it was only quarter and the shops didn't even have things.
Added to the textiles, jewellery and art, they also set up a salon via the scheme. The downside for them, when the landlord found a paying tenant, they had to move a few stores along.
We had to move, but because they'd given us that opportunity, we'd trialled and we'd managed to see that we can also afford commercial rates.
Back in Newcastle, the team is filling an old David Jones store with new tenants. This design is clear on what the scheme has achieved.
Gathered together like a whole pile of different creative artists and stuff and gave them a reason to stay in Newcastle and not move on.
A clear plus for a city that now finds itself a model for others. Bill Code, World News Australia.
Newcastle has New South Wales's highest population growth rate outside of the Sydney region.